Hello, 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 hello. This is my voice is cracking. This is Brandon McNeil again. Another moment to talk, for me to talk a little bit. What's been going on? It's Sunday. I was planning to go to an open mic, and apparently there wasn't an open mic. I went, um, you know, normal routine. I didn't check the schedule or anything. Went to the place, and found out that the bar was closed. And I was like, oh, it was a bittersweet for me. Bitter because I was going to perform. Sweet was because I don't have to. I can go back home, focus on what I need to focus on, what I wanted to do, have fun, have that weekend to rest and things of that nature. And that's what I wanted to do. And you know, have my mind kind of rest. Get my mind. Well, I don't know what to say. Watch TV or do something mindless or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, I don't have to do anything. I do have to, but I don't have to stress out on something, a few things. Some plans didn't fall through this weekend. Again, bittersweet. It gave me a time to rest. It gave me time to, think about what I can do instead of rush it. For example, yesterday, um, there would have been a showcase, and a friend of mine who I talked about previously, old friend of mine from college, he asked if I had a faith-based comedy, and I said I can, and I told him jokingly, like 98% of my material, I don't cuss or use vulgar language, and really I don't use vulgar unless I have I get into what they call an F it mode, and F, you know, you know, if I use it, if children was around, I would have bleeped it out. But anyway, I, I told him I can do that. Yet, I'll be real, I would have been restricted. So I was like, I can do it, but I would have to do it according to how I would love to do it. With the twist that I love for myself to have, and that's what I was gonna do. And the reason why I do not want to do face-based comedy is because I feel like there is some things that I can't discuss and things. But if I look at the Word, if I look at the Bible, there are things in the Bible that people would don't want to discuss now. There are things in the Bible like topics and situations in the Bible where we would have been we would have left it out of the Bible if we had the ability to. And I would not want that. I will, and I'll say this on. I want to get this windows down a little bit because we get some little bit of air because it's kind of hot outside. Sun is down, so I'm glad I'm doing this during the daytime. Uh, there are things in the Bible that we would not want to discuss on a Sunday. They skip over it. Situations that happen in Judges, situations that happen in Genesis, situations that happen during um, First and Second Kings, First and Second Samuel, other stuff. So I'm the type not like, and there's some stuff in the Bible where I didn't like, but it's in there, and I got to go by it. So yeah, that's happening. Oh my goodness. I gotta shave. Oh my goodness. I don't like shaving because it takes a lot of time to me. But I guess that time needs to be used to groom what else is going on. But yeah, he said next month will be when the showcase can happen. You know, 'cause I think it was like scheduling and stuff that was preventing the show from going on. And I appreciate that because now I have time to make something. You know, I already had a little bit written down, and I performed a little bit of it. It's still it's still unpolished. I need to polish it a little bit more. But I uh, I would love to do something like 5 minutes of quote unquote faith based material that will lead up to 10 quote unquote faith based material. You know, and that's that. I went to a show Friday, and it was a comedian who happened to be Christian. And the thing was, we was talking in the what they call it, the foyer of the comedy show or comedy club uh, in Lexington. Me and a friend who happens to work there, and I told them like a friend of mine wanted me to do some Christian comedy. The comedian managed to put that in his set, our conversation. Um, but yeah, so what I'm gonna do is I am gonna do faith-based comedy, but it's gonna be the way that I want to do it. You know, tell a little bit of stories and a little bit of where I come from and things of that nature. I don't come from a church background, and I do not come from a place where I'm solely from the church. You know what I'm saying? I'm church community. I'm uh basically it's like the womb was the church the church building, and I so happen to go out of it. You know, I'm not that type of person. I was a person who chose to follow Jesus and um, decided to, you know, follow him, get baptized, go to church. Well, go to church, get baptized, things of that nature. Read the Word, read the Bible, do what I can, and that's me. Um, and that's me. And I mm, I would rather a lot of folks be that way because I think there is a certain community. If they came from the church, they behave a certain way, and I appreciate being an outsider. You know, because they're well, actually, we need different types of people. You know what I'm saying? So I'm one of the different types. You know, and I embrace that. So that's that. Well, I know I was going to talk about. There's been in the news, and I need to look at the whole story. There's an actress. She's been an actress for over 10 years. She was a part of a movie franchise, a horror movie franchise, and they decided to reboot the franchise. Um, I think they had two um, cinema movies, you know, one original, one sequel, you know, two box. I wouldn't call it box office, but you know, they were in the theater, and then I believe they had a few sequels that went to DVD, and now they brought it back and they brought it back and they rebooting it and putting it in theaters. And one of the original actors, who's an actress, female actor, she's in that movie, and um, you know, she did her part there, and then there was a situation in the media, so in media, social media. Well, it's not a situation, but there's been talks because she was at a red carpet event in her dress and things like that, and and apparently there's comments about her weight, weight gain. Um, there are some. I have to I have to look through it. Well, I bet that. Well, not I bet, but I believe there were comments that were shaming her weight gain. Then there were comments that were defending her curves. Her body. There were some that were body shaming. There were some defending her and not, body shaming her. And I definitely lean towards defending. Because I remember when this actress was in the media, she was on the beach in her bikini, and it showed her, you know, I guess weight gain, and I was like, okay, because I saw the curves. I'm like, as a male, as a dude, as an adult male, I was like, I kind of like them curves. I'm like, I liked her shapely, cause when she was, I guess, in those movies and in the shows, and I guess, um, she was slimmed down, and it, you know, you know, you know, waist down. It was like, how would I put it? Plain, plain. Let me get this, I won't say antacid again. It's a different antacid. I'm only eating this because my stomach was feeling weird when I was woke up from lunch. And if anybody was hearing clicking sounds, this fidget cube. If anybody remembers the fidget cube, everybody remembers the fidget spinner, but fidget cube. I needed some water for that. Well, anyway, folks, how would I say it? How would I say it? There are folks that are hating on her body. Then there are folks who are appreciating her body. I am appreciating how she looks. Whether she is plain looking or she exposes her curves. And I'm the type of dude who likes a woman a little bit curvier. And I don't know who's the people who are body shaming her, because I need to look at them. What do they look like? Do they look like they are in shape? Um, do they look like they work out, eat the right kind of foods? Do they look like they watch their cholesterol, watch their blood sugar, watch, their salt intake and things of that nature? Do they keep themselves healthy? Or are they the opposite? Because that is a problem that I have, where there are people who are body shaming celebrities or other people, and they're in the same boat. You know, I am not the type that will body shame somebody, especially when I have some issues with my own body. I need to lose my gut. You know what I'm saying? I need to walk. I need to take care of myself, inside and out. I gotta watch my cholesterol intake. I gotta watch my sugar intake. I gotta watch my salt intake, but not as much. I gotta exercise. I got to watch. I gotta watch. Basically, I gotta keep my teeth straight. And if you can tell, I got gaps in my teeth. I got a whole lot of them. So, but I got to take care of my teeth. That's what I mean. And there's other things I gotta do. I gotta groom myself well, things like that. I gotta make sure no one smells my BO, things that all of that. So I, you know, what am I? Who am I to tell folks how they're supposed to look when I need to, look better? Well, yeah, I need to watch how I look. If anything, I need to shame myself. So I do not um, condone. I need, like I said, I gotta look up those comments. Where are these comments that are shaming her? Because when I saw that picture, I was like, you know what? Let me find somebody built like that. Yeah, that was my thought. Like, let me find somebody built like that. Because some of us men are appreciating that. You know what I'm saying? And there was people who were appreciating her curves. I'm like, you know what? Let me be one of them too. I don't deal with that mess because it's kind of, because I'll have to ask those who are body shaming, what do you want her to look like? Because there are plenty of people out there who are looking worse being skinny. There was a YouTuber. I pray that she's alive still, but there's a YouTuber that all she was skin and bones. She was just bones with skin on it. She she did. I was like, she was on the verge of dying the next day, and I hope she gets help because it looks scary. It very much looks scary, and she says she looks fine, and I say, no, you don't. You look terrible, and that's on that skinny side. That is, to me, was beyond anorexia. I'm like, something's wrong with her head. Something happened. It's like something happened in her head, and and I don't know. It could be the media. It could be social media. It could be, you know, it could be whatever, something that says, "Oh, you're fat," and like she's like 50 pounds, and I'm very much concerned. Now anorexia. That is, oh my goodness, it was scary. So I'm looking at some of these people. I'm like, what size do you want them to look like? Size -5, because if that person dies, that celebrity you are body shaming dies from being too skinny, what are you gonna say after that? Are you gonna post something after that? No, if it's a real person, also, you probably got a bot doing that. But what will be said after that? Oh, she's gonna be missed. R.I.P. Gone too soon. No. You know, if she's healthy, that is the greatest thing. If she's healthy, that's a new thing I'll probably say. If she has a clear bill of health, she good. And that goes for all of us. Then there's the opposite end where some of us, like I said, we do need to lose weight because that weight affects our heart, it affects our, blood sugar, it affects our cholesterol. You know, I walk maybe 5 minutes to work, and if I walk fast, I gotta catch my breath maybe. But that's a sign of saying, hey, yeah, I need to do a little bit more besides what I'm doing because I want to live a long life. I really want to live a long life, uh, and you know, being like maybe 50, 60 pounds overweight is not gonna cut it. I can use that. I can take that weight and like walk it off, and do other stuff with it so that I can live longer for my brother, for my family and them. Everything. For a future wife, hopefully. I'm like, knock on wood. I don't have any wood to knock on. I am messing around. But yeah, but let's tell the truth. I'll tell the truth on that. So yeah, shout out to that actress. If she's healthy, cool. But can I see her in a blue dress though? Now I want to know if she's still married. Yeah, I don't know if she's still married. If she's still married, cool. That's cool. Cause let's be real, it's not what these people, these body shamers and body appreciators think. It's what the husband thinks too. Cause if the husband, viewer discretion is advised. If the husband wanted to get closer to her every night, or if the husband um wants to know her every night, there is no problem. Some of these dudes out here, they were like, man, that guy who that guy. Some folks may want to body shame him, but the dude likes her how she looks, and he's getting to know her every night. Oh my goodness. So yeah, folks is, some folks is tripping. Now, if, like I said, for health reasons, I understand. Health reasons, I understand. Oh my goodness, I think I'm good for now. I drove past a college library and I felt young because I felt opportunities. I don't know why, but I felt like this thing where it says it's never too late. So I guess it's that time for me to consider what's the next steps. I am where I am in vocation. I'm where I am when it comes to habitat. I am where I am as far as my faith and things like that nature. Is it time for me to start upgrading? The answer is yes. Vocationally, yes, because I need to make a lot of money. I got a lot of things to pay for, and they're coming for me. And I'm like, yeah, it's time for me to, you know, upgrade, or rightfully, responsibly do better. So yeah, um, I think that's it. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for watching. This is just some sort of blog video thing that I'm still doing. Hopefully, again, I continue this because, you know, gotta get these things out. But yeah, thank y'all. Thank y'all. Catch y'all next time.